Okay, this is September 25, 2025. Great numbers there. Time is 6 p.m. and I'm going to open the meeting for the Deerfield, Town of Deerfield Conservation Commission. So the meeting is open. It's a hybrid Zoom, and we're meeting in the main meeting room at 8 Conway Street in South Deerfield. This meeting will be held in a hybrid fashion with the opportunity for both in-person attendance and remote participation. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in any specific item on the agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. The meeting will be held in person at the main meeting room of Deerfield Municipal Offices. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, anyone intending to record the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk and provide their name and address for the record. I think I got through that whole preamble. All right. So the meeting is underway, and it's also been posted on the town website with a meeting identification and password, etc. We ask the meeting attendees to please mute your phones unless asking questions or commenting. So the meeting is called to order. Meeting guidelines is please speak one at a time. Follow the Deerfield Code of Conduct to be respectful, considerate, courteous, concise, and non-repetitive. And for this meeting, I would ask if anybody that is not doing a presentation per se, but if you need to discuss anything, please present that question to the chair, and I'll push it out to the proper commission members. And please keep your comments to 2 or 3 minutes or less. We're going to identify the members present on the Conservation Commission. So if you could say who you are and that you're here. You have to speak in really loud to these mics.
Kate Devlin here.
Darren Damaris here.
Sean Libby here.
Pete Law here. And I see Ben Byrne on the screen. Ben, can you...
Ben Byrne here, remotely.
Yeah. Hi, Ben. How you doing? So we have the full commission here this evening. So we're set to go with the quorum. We also have Amy Hahn that's helping to run the meeting here at the office. And Tim, helping me the last name. It's a two. Eve Cole, sorry, I get it mixed up, is here as well. So first we need to review the minutes from 8/28 and 9/18/25. Does anybody have any comments?
I just want to, I have not quite completed the 9/18. I was waiting for the people who were there to fill in after the site walk because I wasn't there. So I sent you partial minutes. So we're just voting on the one set.
Okay, so we're looking at only the minutes from 8/28/25. So does anybody have any comments or revisions to the 8/28 minutes?
Julie has her hand up.
Oh, there's Julie Coswell, you have your hand up. Do you have a comment on the minutes?
Sorry, no, I don't, but I can very, very barely hear what's being said, and I have my hearing aids up on their 10, so.
I
Yeah, the
concur
audio
with that.
here is
It's
really
hard at
tough.
home here to
Is it
hear.
any better for right there? Or?
Yes, that's better.
The closer
Thank
you
you.
speak into
You
the
do have
mic,
to
the
speak
better it
into the mic,
is.
like almost inhale the mic to make it work. Okay. Any other revisions or updates to the minutes from 8/28? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, I would take a roll call to accept the minutes as presented. Roll call vote. We have to do a motion. Yeah, let's do a motion first. You're right. Yeah, thank you.
So maybe somebody else can make the motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of 8/28/25 as written.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Darren, sorry, Darren Damaris. I'll accept the motion.
Oh, okay. Well, first I'm going to ask, I'm going to have to do this again. Now that there's a motions on the table, is there any other comments from the commissioners? No? Okay, now I can accept go do a roll call vote.
Kate Devlin, I.
Darren Damaris, aye.
Sean Libby, aye.
Ben Byrne, I'll abstain. I believe I was absent.
And Pete Law, aye. So the meetings are accepted with a vote of 401. Okay. The next item is old business, which is 21 Pleasant Street, the DES NOI. I'm going to open the hearing. It's a continuation.
Go ahead and read it. Yeah, you should probably just read
Yeah,
the notice. and
I'm
I'll
just
look-
going to do this prescription. So we're holding the meeting tonight. That was a notice of intent filed by Darius Modesto for installation of new playground surface and equipment at DES on property at 21 Pleasant Street, identified in the assessor's records as map 159, lot 27. Do we have anybody from the applicant?
So Pete, they contacted me earlier this week and also again today to say that they would like to continue. I don't think they need to be here to ask, so we can just go ahead and continue that
Okay.
until October 30th at 7 p.m.
Right. Okay, so the applicant has requested a continuation. They're not ready tonight, so we can go ahead and continue that meeting to October 30th with a start date of 7 p.m. For the discussion on DES. Okay. Yeah, so that would be the time. So if I could take a motion to do the continuation.
Kate Devlin, I'll make a motion to continue the hearing on the 21 Pleasant Street DES NOI until 10:30 at 7 p.m.
Do you have a second?
Sean Libby, I'll second.
Okay, any other discussions? The motion on the table, any other discussion from the commissioners? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll take a quick roll call vote to accept the motion that's on the table to do the continuation. Go ahead, Kate Devlin.
Kate Devlin, I.
Darren Damaris, aye.
Sean Libby, aye.
Ben Byrne, aye.
And Pete Law, aye. Okay, that motion passes 5-0, and there will be a continuation of that discussion, of that hearing, sorry, until October 30th, and that hearing will commence at 7 p.m. on the 30th. Okay. New business, 56 Hillside Road, RDA. This is a request for determination of applicability filed by Jen Wolfram to see if work depicted on the submitted plans for 56 Hillside Road, property identified in the assessor's records as map 152, lots 18, 19, and 20, is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act. Copies of the RDA is on file here, and you have it in your meeting packets. And I know Mrs. Wolfram is here with us this evening, so do you have anything you want to discuss with us first, or?
Okay, you need to.
Oh, yeah, please come up to the mic.
Please sign your name to the sheet in front of you. Thank you.
Yeah, if you could just come to the mic and introduce yourself, that'd be great.
So my name's Jan Wolfram, and 56 Hillside Road is my family home that my father built.
And Jen, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the audio here, you have to really be right next to it.
Alrighty. Okay, I like the echo. So 56 Hillside Road is my childhood home. It was built in 52. There was a drainage ditch around the property on the east to the south side. And I moved back into that home a year and a half ago, and I noticed that the water table was very high in the west portion of the property. I have a little bit of seepage into my garage, and also there were pools of water all around the ditch because it really hadn't been cleaned out since 1952, I believe. And I was surprised to hear that there was a brook on my property. But obeying the guidance that you've given me, I would just like to be able to clean out that existing ditch so I have better drainage and fewer mosquitoes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And commissioners, if you look in your packet, you can see the map. So it's on the southwest corner of Lot 20. There is a hydrologic connection that comes up through there, and that's the one that comes down to Captain Lathrop on the upper side. And make sure I get this right, Janet.
Mhm.
The ditch that we're looking at is to the east side of your property and to the southern side going down to the
Correct.
south
Mhm.
west area. So it kind of comes around the area of the property. So much of the area is probably outside of jurisdiction for the 100-foot, but there is a question of just what that hydrologic connection is there, where you can see on the map the blue connection just outside the area, and within the 100-foot there could be some BVW in that area. So in prep of this meeting, I was out there on the 19th and I did a site walk to go through and take a look at what the swale looks like, and it's pretty much a dry swale that comes down through from that eastern side down to the southern side. No standing water, although you could see there, it's probably a spring and fall type of intermittent flow through there. So when I looked at it, and even down to the hydrologic connection, it was hard to tell without doing a whole delineation. So I don't think we really need that to go any further. My suggestion after the site visit, and we discussed this while I was here, is basically to remove the kind of the buildup of the leach mulch material down to you can kind of like poke my feet in there and pick that up. You can see where the organic level is, but take the leaf mulch out probably to a 6 to 12-inch level. All the way down through that, and remove, there's some areas that were some branches in there and so forth that were cut. They should come out so we can keep the flow going when it does come through. But remove it down to that 6 to 12-inch. It would depend on just where it is in the swale when they do the kind of the work up there. But I would suggest that and take it out to the observable width of the swale, which is, it's pretty observable when you look at it when you come down the slope of where it needs to be. And I would say, Jen, is probably 4 feet wide.
Maybe. I mean,
Maybe, yeah.
growing up, I didn't
Yeah.
even know there was
Yeah.
a stream there.
So I say it was probably within that 3 to 4 foot area and just going down to 6 or 12 inches. That would be my suggestion. Remove the branches. Don't go any wider than the bank. So we don't want it to go too wide, too deep. But it makes total sense to me, as I reviewed it, to get rid of the buildup of leaf materials and so forth in the area. And then when you start it, I would just suggest that we have Tim come up and take a look at how that little bit of excavation would be going on. But that would be my thoughts. So anything else from yourself, Janet, or otherwise I'll open it up to the other commissioners for questions.
My question is, because I have an excavator, Mr. What is his name? Thayer, Richie Thayer from Hatfield. The rains are coming. I guess my biggest question is, how soon can I get started? so I
Yeah.
don't get fined?
Yeah, we'd like you to do. In general, we use the area from June through October as kind of the drier season to avoid the work in the wet. So, if you can get it done in October, that would be good, for us. And if it does continue into November, just come back to us and we can do it by email. If the drought condition, I mean, after today, it poured pretty good. But if the drought condition does continue, we might be able to get into November a ways, but it would be good to have it done before November 1.
Okay, can I do the work as soon as next week?
As long as we're going to have a discussion with the commissioners, but I don't see why not to me, but okay. Any other questions?
No, I'm
Okay,
good to
okay.
go.
Any comments, discussions from the commissioners? Straightforward. Yeah. So,
Would this be a Form 2B3 negative without an order of conditions?
yeah, and I was just looking for that and I forgot to write it down, but I think it would be a 2B -3, with the conditions being, no deeper than 6 to 12 inches. Work within the observed banks.
As
and-
discussed in this
as
meeting.
discussed, and to have it reviewed by the conservation agent when the work is underway.
Okay.
Contact us 72 hours ahead, so Tim can plan 24 hours ahead, just so Tim knows he needs to get out there.
Yeah, so there'll be a certain kind of boilerplate order of conditions that we put with it, but we can add that to it, that just give us like a 3 days notice, 72-hour notice of when it is, so we can schedule either Tim or I or one of the other commissioners to be there to take a look. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well, that's great.
otherwise I think, if somebody can
All
make
right.
a motion after all
I
that
think,
stuff.
I think I can do that. I will make a motion for a Form 2B -3 finding with an order of conditions as discussed at the meeting tonight.
Kate Devlin, I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. Any further discussion from the commissioners? Hearing, don't see anything, so we can take a roll call vote to accept the motion.
Kate Devlin, aye.
Darren Damaris, aye.
Sean Libby, aye.
You want to weigh in, Ben?
Oh, sorry. I was like, why is my button not working? Ben Burn, aye.
Yeah, and Pete Law, aye. So that one carries 5-0, and as long as we, adhere to those simple criteria, should be good to go.
All right. And I want to thank everybody for the great work on conservation. And I had friends from Seattle come visit me last week, and they were impressed that Deerfield, as a smaller town, actually has a conservation commission. It's perfect. So thank you very much.
Well,
I
thank
love
you
your
very much,
work.
too. All right. Good luck with the project, and keep us posted.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah, you too now.
You too.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's right.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the CPA request for ComCom fund. Julie, can you hear us okay?
Pretty well now, thank you.
Okay. You have the floor then, if you would like.
Great, thank you. Thanks for hosting us this evening to talk about this proposal to establish a conservation fund for the town of Deerfield. And joining us, I see Andrea Leibson is here. She's a member of the Open Space Committee. And Kathy Sylvester, who is the chair of the Community Preservation Committee, is traveling this evening, so she wasn't able to be here, but she's been involved in these discussions as well. So we know we met with several members of the committee a ways back to talk about open space protection in Deerfield and how we could increase that open space protection. And I think our conversations have been going on for since I think early 2024. So we were in a meeting with some of you when we were talking about land grants and other Massachusetts grants that are available for open space protection that require Conservation Commission participation. That is not what we're here today to talk about. And what we're here today to talk about is both a problem and an opportunity, and why establishing a conservation fund would be a good way to address the problems that we're having. So what our goal, as sort of the lead story for our discussion, is that we are really here to ask the Conservation Commission to vote to join the Open Space Committee in submitting a Community Preservation Act grant application for the November 1st deadline. And what we would like to have happen is that grant proposal would be to establish a conservation fund for the town of Deerfield, and to ask for $100,000 to kick off that fund. The Open Space Committee is thinking that we would hope to be able to come back to, if this is successful, come back to the CPC over time to ask for further money to go into this fund to allow acquisition of open space in Deerfield and permanent protection of that space. So I know I circulated a little two pages of discussion and then some background to everybody in the committee, but I just want to address the main story is that CPC money can be spent for open space acquisition and for acquiring conservation restrictions, but the CPC has an annual cycle, funding cycle. And so only once a year do they approve projects and do those projects go before town meeting for a vote to see whether they're going to be funded. So we are in a situation where if open space becomes available, for example, if parcels are coming out of Chapter 61 and coming to the town for the right of first refusal, we may be off cycle to when CPC money could be asked for. So we can lose opportunities to acquire land that we might be interested in for open space because we're not on cycle with getting money from the CPC. So that's sort of the problem with using CPC money to do open space acquisition. And the CPC Act and the regulations that go along with it have a way to get around that, which is for the town to establish a conservation fund. And so the town, and again, this would be the Community Preservation Committee reviewing a proposal from Open Space and the Conservation Commission, and town meeting approving it, but we would be asking to establish a conservation fund, and that conservation fund sits with the Conservation Commission, and the money would be put into that fund, and it's followed and accounted for within the fund. And then what happens is if an opportunity comes up to acquire open space, the Conservation Commission can spend that money for the acquisition of open space or for conservation restrictions without going back to town meeting. So it delivers a lot of flexibility in reacting to opportunities for open space acquisition. And it allows the ability to really do more with possibilities of open space acquisition within the town. So the Open Space Committee is very excited about this opportunity. And we were scheduled to talk to the Conservation Commission, I think, definitely in August. And we were sort of came to this date because that meeting was very full. But in the meantime, the pre-application deadline of September 15th from the Community Preservation Committee came up. And so we did put in a preliminary proposal along the lines that I just discussed, $100,000 to be put into a conservation fund. And that was submitted to CPC, and they have approved that pre-application. The whole idea with a pre-application isn't to indicate whether they approve of the idea or not. It's to look at whether what we propose is eligible for CPC funding. And the committee has said, yes, it is. And so we would be looking open space in collaboration with the Conservation Commission to submit a grant by November 1st. That would go through an approval process. If the CPC approved it, it would then be voted on at town meeting in the spring. So it's kind of an overview of what this mechanism is and what we're hoping to accomplish with it. So I'm very open to questions and comments.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Julie. I'm just reading through here. Sorry. Any other questions from the commissioners before? Anybody have anything? So Julie, this fund then would be managed by the town treasurer, is that right? Under the Conservation Commission, but it'd be
Yes.
managed by the town personnel?
Yes.
Yes, okay, and it would only be approved following town meeting next year.
Right.
Okay, for use, okay. I had just a little question on your, I guess it's a pre-application, but I think you said you put the application in. At the very end of it, under attachment V2, there's a comment that said, maintenance expenditures are prohibited for all assets, even if they could otherwise be considered of acquisition, creation, preservation, support, rehab, or restoration. Maintenance means incidental repairs do not materially add to the value of property or appreciably prolong property's life, but keeps property in condition of fitness or readiness. So maintenance is prohibited after some type of purchase, or how would that become a town responsibility and or liability for maintenance costs? And it's just a little bit underneath this attachment V2, and I was like, oh.
It's a case for all CPC funding, and the idea is that the funding, does new things and creates new things, but is not to be maintenance or long-term, not long-term maintenance. So, but the land that we would be acquiring, does not carry much in the way of maintenance expenses. And we don't have a maintenance budget, for example, for other parcels that we have that the town owns in town.
Okay, I think I'm having a little trouble hearing about. I think it's, if I can summarize, so the maintenance is not included. So if there's a purchase of a property, then it would become town's liability for maintenance, I think you stated that the properties that you're looking at now would have little or minimal maintenance, but I guess the concept would being that the town would be responsible for some cost of maintenance if needed. So I wouldn't be able to, we wouldn't be able to, as a conservation commission, pull money from this fund to maintain any of the properties that might be purchased. Does that make sense?
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
That is
And,
correct,
uh,
but I'd like to add that the town is already responsible for the maintenance costs of 6 conservation properties that have been highlighted in our town plans. And what Julie's pointing out is there, at this point in time, is no maintenance cost to the ownership of these parcels. They're on 4 of them are on Pecumtic Ridge, 1 is on River Road, and I'm not sure where the last one is, but this is for purchasing. But if we purchase more land, the maintenance costs will have to be baked into some other budget.
Yeah,
You
no, I
know,
appreciate
if,
that.
if
That's,
there was
yeah.
trail building. Or,
Yeah, and I just had read this afternoon and just like I put a star by it because I had a question, but that makes a lot of sense, Sean. Thank you. Okay. Any other input from the committee? Julie, Andrea, Ann, anybody, or any other input from the commissioners?
I would just like to add that this would make us more nimble instead of having us, have to either refuse land or be unable to be part of a CPC application. So it's to make things easier, better for us, for the town.
Okay. No, I greatly appreciate that. And so it would allow, we would be, I think the vote or what we're looking at discussing is a vote to join the Open Space Committee to recommend the pursuance of the Conservation Fund. Is that kind of a correct statement?
Yeah, and I think the Open Space Committee's motion was specific that the application for this year, this cycle would be $100,000.
Okay. So we can make that specific. And so if we do that recommendation, the recommendation go in the application. If they approve it, it comes back to town meeting for ultimate approval by the town voters at that point. So we're doing a recommendation to reach out to the group and see if we can get that $100,000 approved. I think that's a basis, if I got it right.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So any other questions? No?
Put that into a motion, or do we have?
That's what I don't it would be something that we take a vote to or we open a motion to join the Open Space Committee with a recommendation to pursue funding in $100,000 for 2020. Would that be for 2025 or 2026?
It's actually
the 2026 fiscal year.
It's actually 2026 fiscal year.
Okay, so it'd be to recommend that we join the Conservation Fund for requesting approval for $100,000 for the fiscal year 2026 time period. And that would be from, just make sure that's right, from the Community Preservation Committee. Is that the right term?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So
All right.
I rambled on that, Kate, sorry, but it's
So
kinda
Kate Devlin, I'll make a motion that we join the Community Preservation Committee in supporting the grant proposal to ask for $100,000 to go towards open space acquisition. Does that make sense?
And to establish a conservation
To
fund
establish a conservation fund
for open space
for
acquisition.
open space acquisition.
And I can't remember all the Robert's rules of things, but I think it's not to, your motion said that we would join the Community Preservation Committee,
Yeah,
but we're joining the Open Space Committee
sorry.
to petition to the.
Friendly amendment.
Yeah, yeah. So, sorry, Roberts, but I probably went out of the Robert's rules of.
So joining the
meetings, but-
Open Space Committee for requesting $100,000. I got that much right.
From the CPC.
From the CPC for the acquisition of open space. Sean, what do you got? You've been typing.
That's
think you have
it.
to
Yeah,
read
you
your
nailed it.
motion.
Can I
For
remove
the
my
fiscal
motion?
year of
Let's-
2026.
I'm going to remove my motion and Sean can read what he's written.
All right. Kate Devlin made a motion to join the Open Space Committee, that our committee would join the Open Space Committee to pursue a conservation fund for $100,000 for the 2026 fiscal year from the CPC for the acquisition of open space lands.
Great.
Yeah,
Darren Damaris, I'll second that.
okay. So, have a motion on the table, so now it's down to the commissioners. Any other comments, discussion? Okay, then I'll take a quick roll call to accept the motion on the table.
Kate Devlin, aye.
Darren Damaris, aye.
Sean Libby, aye.
Ben Byrne, aye.
Pete Law, aye. Sorry to make it so complicated, but it's all good. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, thank you, guys. Keep us posted and what you hear back. And if
Yes,
you need any
and-
more assistance on that.
And just for some other happy land acquisition news, and it hasn't been publicized yet, but DCR has bought, just acquired 260 acres on the Pecumtuck Ridge that will be going into permanent protection. So we are making really nice progress with open space in Deerfield, and I think this conservation fund is going to really support this effort going forward.
That's great news. Good to hear. Thank you. All
Yeah.
right, thanks for your work.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Good night.
good night now. The next item on the agenda is the bundled NOI extension letter. That is included in your packet here tonight. It's a letter I signed off and put together. That went to the Mass DEP. And it said the Deerfield Conservation Commission acknowledges that pursuant to Section 280 of Chapter 238 of the Acts of 2024 of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the order of conditions issued for file or DEP file number WE 142-0232 is hereby extended automatically for 2 years. So accordingly, the new expiration date for this NOI is October 12th, 2027. Extension is granted by law and does not require further action by the commission or the applicant. So that was a law, a mandate from the governor that extended a lot of permits, and Amy, you probably have more details.
Yeah, I was just gonna jump in. So I was informed of this. Actually, it was our circuit writer, Mark Stinson, mentioned that all under the whatever it is act, all these permits that were open in a certain period have been extended automatically for 2 years. And when I looked at guidance, they suggested that you just write a letter. So, I mean, it's probably not necessary, but I think it's good to have for the record. Now we can put on, we were going to ask for an extension because that is, the bundled NOI is the end date was for the end of October, but now it's automatically extended, and I have it on my list of things to do for 2027 to then apply again for another year, so we can kind of keep it going for a while. And this letter is just an acknowledgement of that.
I have so many questions.
Yes.
Does that mean that there has to be a request for that extension, or it is by law? So do we know how many applications in front of us are extended 2 years by law? Because it's been nebulous at best to determine exactly which permits this applies to. Say, for instance, forest cutting plans. We don't believe it applies to forest cutting plans, but it hasn't been taken to court. So nobody's pushed on that.
Yeah, I was advised by Mark Stinson, and from the guidance that I can read, I think any of our NOIs that were in effect during the tolling period, which I'd have to look at the guidance
Read.
again. It was about 3 years, but anything that was in effect is automatically extended for another 2 years. So as these things come due, like I said, the applicants lucked out and they've got, another 2 years.
And this was a continuation of what they did 2 years ago, right? Because they did an extension 2 years ago for a 2-year period, and they just did it again. Is that right?
No, we
Oh.
actually submitted in 2022. And so that ran for the order of conditions runs for
Oh,
3
for
years.
the NOI, but
runs-
as far as the
yeah.
the law for extension, yeah.
I am not familiar. I wasn't
Yeah,
in
yeah.
municipal management at the first time it was extended, but as I said, I don't have it in front of me, but they lay out a period. I think it basically is starting from where the old one left off. So it's
Yeah.
not extending ones that had been extended that still, but basically for another period going forward.
Yeah,
A
I
bunch
think-
more have been extended.
And that's what
the
I
idea.
took from what I read, but it's like, Sean, it's very confusing. We've also been waiting to hear from the Mass Association of Conservation Commissions, MACC, on all the questions that they have. And from what I know, I haven't seen any response about exactly which ones this apply to, other than ones that are more clear cut, like this one that we just talked about. But there's still a lot of questions, Sean. I'm sure you know more about that than I do. And just talking about the bundled NOI, Tim and I met this morning with Chief Pachuric and Matt Morse, who's the superintendent of the DPW, about a couple of things, but one of it is about what's the wording, more appropriate use of the bundled NOI for the town of Deerfield, and how they should be following the outlines that they signed off on, which means they should come to us once a year with X number of projects. We review it. We can say yay, say nay. But I think with a new superintendent at DPW, we may see some output to us probably either in December, January, or February for the utilization of the bundled NOI, which could help us out, I think, a lot with some of our projects that we have to review for the town. So more on that to come. Hand in hand, the next agenda item is the emergency cert for Hillside Culvert, the revised one. I think that's in here. So we do need to take I can explain that a bit. We need to take a vote to ratify that. If you would like this evening. But it was basically a culvert. I got the tag here someplace. On Hillside, 29 Hillside Road, latitude 42.489939, longitude negative 72.599958 over to Captain Lathrop Drive. So there was a culvert of, I think it's a 48-inch culvert. That was, when we looked at it, what was that, Tim, like a month ago? 6 weeks ago, the first time? There was standing water on both sides of the culvert. The standing water was about 8 inches from the top of the 48-inch culvert, and it was encroaching, potentially encroaching the road. This was at a time of significant drought here in the Commonwealth, and so there was a request for emergency certification to do some work on that culvert to alleviate that buildup. We did some work, most of it just south of the culvert, go down maybe 80 feet or so, and maybe another 20 feet on the north side to clean out the culvert. And we got the water level to drop, I would say about 18 to 20 inches. So it's about halfway. And I was just out there in the pouring rain about 3:30 this afternoon, taking a look at it, and it's just about halfway up the culvert. The flow is going through, but there still remains to be quite a bit of standing water, both the south side and the north side of that area. So we may be coming back to you after I review further with the DEP next week to do a little bit more work. And it could be a new CERT, it could be something different depending on what we're at. But tonight we need to look at ratifying the emergency CERT that's in your document here for the cleanup of that culvert, which was completed last Thursday or Friday, and reseeded and straw on top on, I think, on Monday this week. So most of that work is done. There'll probably be some more work. There's a lot of waterways in town that need a lot more maintenance, but that one definitely, in my mind, I signed off as an emergency CERT because it was getting really close to the top of the wall, and the faces of the culvert. So it was old stone. You know, they were, you know, could have caused a problem if we had another one of those 5 inches of rain in 2-hour kind of events. So.
I just want to mention, you guys approved this at your last meeting. Unfortunately, the dates I was given on the first one, they changed the dates. So this is basically identical to the one you already approved last month. It's just with updated dates to be accurate.
It's approve or ratify the revision of that one. I think we still have to do that because, right? Do we have to re-ratify do we have to ratify the revision again this time? Yeah, we can do it really quick. Guys want to make a motion to accept the revised emergency CERT for 29 Hillside? We can check off that box if you wish.
Kate Devlin, I'll make a motion to ratify the emergency certification for 29 Hillside Road.
Darren Damaris, I'll second that.
Okay, motion on table. Any other discussion? Hearing, seeing none, we'll take a quick roll call to accept the motion.
Kate Devlin, aye.
Darren Damaris, aye.
Sean Libby, aye.
Ben Byrne, aye.
Pete Law, well, aye. Okay, so that one we got done, and there'll be more to come on that, so we'll just leave that to the next meeting. So thanks to Tim, this was one of his first projects I gave him, was to put together an invasive species guide. That's in your packet here, and just this is more for discussion and what we would like to do with it. I asked him to do that because we have a seminar coming up this Sunday. I hope some of you can make it, but this is a seminar from 1 to 3 p.m. It'll be held here. And we put out flyers to all the homeowners and residents of both Bloody Brook and Sugarloaf Brook to attend, as well as open it up to all the the town residents. And there's going to be, I don't have the agenda with me, but there's probably 5 or 6 agenda items. We'll be discussing a little bit about the GZA study on the Bloody Brook. We'll be discussing invasive species, what we're talking about now, and invasive species as well. And Tim's going to do that part of the presentation, as well as what native planting should be involved. And that'd be, it's a woman from the Franklin County Conservation District. I'll be talking about some of the do's and don'ts of you know, helping to take care of your brook. And then we have some presentations by 2 or 3 students from DES, now in 5th grade, but we're in the 4th grade plan that put together the pamphlet of all about the Bloody Brook. And there's another topic, something about housing, and I can't remember. But anyways, it's we're running that on Sunday, so hopefully some of you can make it. I know Tim and I will be here, and we have quite a few other folks, and I have to do a couple of presentations, but that's it. But so part of that is the invasive species guide that we want to use and do a handout. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the guide that Tim put together.
I did. I had a question. Is it also going to be made available online? So I'm hoping that in the future we can have sort of a resource, and this would be an excellent resource online. And then we could use QR codes throughout town to be like, go to our resource page, and and then it'll have the beautiful work like that.
Yeah, no, the intent is to get it would probably be the town website under the Conservation Commission folder, or would
Yeah,
it
so
be
I
under
can-
MVP folder?
Yeah, if you want, I can make a separate, I was thinking of listing them on the Concom page, but I think maybe Sean is right, make a separate page, and then we can have, as you said, the QR code that people can go to for these resources. But I'll probably be doing that, so you guys just need to tell me what you want.
It may matter mostly because I'm thinking with Kate about signage in the future, and
Yeah.
we're hoping that signage about, we've done one on invasive plants with Treehouse. It would be nice if we had a QR that connected, and if it connects to our conservation page and it's easily recognizable where there's a bunch of facts and resources, then that's great. It may need that it has to be a separate page, I don't know. But it's sort of the building block, and then we can just keep adding material to that and keep
That-
spreading
yeah.
that QR code.
Definitely one of the goals with Tim is to develop our educational material online,
Yeah.
that we have all that information, so.
Yeah. I thought what you've got so far is great. What I was kind of looking for was like the suggestions under management. It's like hire a professional, but what can your average person do? I think that would be helpful if we could add something like that in. Unless you don't want, unless we're then liable for making suggestions. I don't know.
Well, I'll give you my quick response to that is there's so many alternatives that you could use, and then if we put out what you should or shouldn't do as a town, I'm not sure we
No,
can be that comfortable.
No, it's more
Uh,
like with bittersweet. It's landed in my yard. What do I do?
Right, and so,
Yeah.
we initially, there was a lot of that in there. Do you compost it? Do you trash it? Do you
Yeah.
do this? Do you do that? You take it out in November, you take it out in January, and
I think you're supposed to bag that.
you think you're supposed to value it. And
Yeah.
other people have other opinions,
Yeah.
and.
That's
if
what you
put it-
do with what you've cut, and
Yeah.
you treat it.
Yes.
Right.
With
and you treat
triclopyr.
it, right.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, it's better living through chemistry with some of them, because if you do cut, then you get sucker sprouts and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get a multitude more.
Yeah.
So
There's
I-
very few you can deal with.
I just caution
by
them a
hand.
little bit that.
Garlic mustard would be one.
We may not want to be the definitive answer to that. We can be a resource if they want to come ask us questions, and we can send them to different places. But I'm not sure that the Conservation Commission in the town of Deerfield is going to be answer for invasive species, because the first two revisions had a lot of that material.
Yeah, I remember seeing an early draft with that stuff in it. And I was like, oh, this is great, you know.
Then go ahead.
Yeah, I think Pete covered it pretty well. The early drafts definitely had more of the management stuff, and I think about 90% of your comments had to do with going into more detail with the management stuff. So we just had to make a decision whether this was the document to go into that or not. And I think ultimately, with the idea in mind that this is just the start of building up educational material, that, you know, this document was more about identification and just general information. I think it would have been, if I had really gone in on management stuff, it would have been about twice as long.
Yeah, it's a whole, I mean, there are whole books on that,
Yeah,
but,
so-
you know, I was just thinking, you know, for the average person, it would be
Yeah,
helpful
and
to
I know we're gonna
know a
have,
couple things.
I know we're gonna have a lot of questions on that on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm gonna have to around that one. But also from DEP, they had some links that were put on our website. They have a lot more definition of what you can and can't do. And
That's
so
one
if
of
I
the
could
things.
rely on the DEP, yeah,
Yeah.
that might be better.
But if you are the landowner, what you can do is go to Home Depot and buy a 50% solution, which is a whole lot more than you need, and spray it wherever you want.
Sure. I can't,
It-
you know.
The label is a law, following the label, but you've had no training whatsoever. And that's the truth, where hiring a professional is honestly the best answer, because that professional is using a 5% solution and is applying directly versus, you know, what you can buy it.
A gallon of Roundup or something.
Well, that's the thing. It's so concentrated at such a high level that it's unnecessary. That
So-
if we do say the only living is better through chemistry for some of these things, then the common person might go to Home Depot and spread a ton more chemical than we really need.
So we try to err a little bit on the side of caution.
The other thing I'll mention is there's hyperlinks at the bottom under the reporting invasive species section and the additional resources section. You know, those could potentially, if we wanted to include a little bit more management stuff, I could probably find hyperlinks to a source that would talk about that. And that would be a good compromise, to not put a ton of management stuff in the document, but link to a definitive source on that.
Or even to, like the transfer station for, you know, what they accept and what they don't accept, that kind of thing. If we can link to other things within the town and the town, that like on the town website.
A list of
The-
professionals that do the work, because it's
Yeah.
not a long list anyway.
Yeah.
So if we
That's what
provided
I
that,
think that's what we put together, but that comment kind of started this, because on the MVP committee, not this one, but that's putting it on the seminar, and the last page of it had this bulletin that came out, and it said, contact your local government for specific bylaws and regulations. And so I just looked, and there's a select board sitting on the table, and there's everybody here in the committee. I said, do we have any of those? And they, nope. I said, so who's going to be asking who, right? We don't have that stuff in place. So if somebody went to the transfer station, they're going to say, oh, put it in an orange bag. That's good. You know, so that's why I was kind of like trying to go to the professional. We can help you find the professional. We can give you other links, but
Okay. I was just, you know,
no, it's a good point. Ed. We were going back and forth on it a lot,
yeah.
you know, a lot.
if we can convince people that it's okay to hire a professional, that would be amazing.
As long as we
It's
give it the
expensive,
tools. Yeah.
and with no Fed money to spray chemicals anymore from,
Yeah.
so.
Well, some people don't like to use chemicals too, so, or they want to use as few as possible, and that's where the professional comes in, but.
In my simple mind in the background, it's like somebody like Franklin County Regional Council of Governments, FROC,
FERCog.
be a
Yeah.
perfect place to do like a whole regional invasive species, because all the towns You go to Conway, you go to Sunderland, you go to Deerfield, you go to Greenfield, we all got the same stuff.
Yeah.
You know, make it a whole regional wide, you know, spend some grant on that, but, you know, whole nother topic, but I just wanted to see what Tim put together. I thought it was a pretty good thing, and this is what we'll
Yeah.
be handing out on Sunday, and there will be lots of questions, and
Yeah, no, I thought the info was great.
we'll try to divert as many as we can.
Yeah, I'll add in a link or two in the additional resources, you know, with links to definitive management, you know, stuff. I think that's a good,
Yeah.
good middle ground.
Yeah. Good, but thank you. So that was that one. Cumberland Farms Retention Pond Cleanup Update. I was going to go look at it today, and it was just pouring. I didn't go over there. I'm not sure if you got there, Tim, or not. But most of the work, I got contacted by the project manager. They believe they're done. So we just have to do another review of what they did, and it looks from when I saw it a week ago, that they were doing it, you know, pretty good. But we'll have to get the specs out and take a look and get back to them. But they did pull it all out. They took the top 12 inches off last year. They took another 18 inches of material off within the last few weeks. They brought it back up with all the proper drainage underneath, fixed the spillway on the back for the overflow, increase that with riprap with a spillway, a splash lane on the bottom. So I'm hoping that if I can get there tomorrow or over the weekend, that we can maybe be done with that one. And the next thing with that is I will remind them that they owe us it's either monthly, some are monthly and some are every 3 month reports on the condition and how it works. And that's supposed to come to us, the planning board, and maybe the select board. So we will have those on our radar screen to make sure that we receive ongoing monitoring, because that's what happened in the past. They just took their eye off it and it turned into a cattail. Yeah. I'll probably go over it in the morning. So that one's actually moving along. Any other discussion on those items? General discussion was just the site visits completed in September. I can send these to you, Sean, if it's easier, but I can just roll through them.
That would be helpful. You can roll through them, but if you send them to me as well,
Okay.
that way I don't have to take notes.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that in the morning.
Because I missed them last time because I just was like, oh, he went so fast.
Sorry about that, but
No
let me just
worries.
slow down. September 10th, 143 Conway Road. I did that with Alex Galloway, the planner, and Tim, farmer that owns a property, and he's been contacted by a number of solar companies. We looked at that. There's probably some wetland considerations out there, but that was just a look and see, investigation, help them out. On 9/12, we reviewed Sugarloaf Brook. That was Tim and I, and we were mostly looking at the trees that we talked about for 37B Eastern Avenue RDA that we approved last time, and we had to measure that out. And just as we thought, I think it was 3 trees that are within our jurisdiction and 4 trees that are without. So that's how we wrote up the RDA guidelines to them. But we took a tape measure out and did it officially instead of just walking it off with my strides. On 9/15, had a meeting with the DPW for Matt Morse and the new assistant superintendent. Can't tell you his name right now. It was also attended by Carolyn Ness and Megan, I can't think of his last name, from the Franklin County Conservation District. And we went over some of the protocols and the training that DPW have had in the past, what to do and not to do in different areas that they needed retraining on. So that was a meeting there. 9/18, we met with the town of Deerfield for the senior housing committee group. That was Tim, Kate, Sean.
I was not here.
No, okay. Here, and we met with we had a joint meeting here and then did a site visit in the area just north of the town hall. 9/19 I was at 56 Hillside Ave for the RDA that we just spoke about early in the meeting. On 9/22, back at Hillside Ave at the Culvert, meeting with DPW, Chief Pachurik and Tim on that date. 9/23, which is 2 days ago, had a very lengthy DEP call about a number of items. So I can send you those. So, no.
I think I got it.
And, all right. I don't think I saw any mail in here. No mail, okay. Any items unanticipated? Just one that came up and you reminded me about the signage. Where we stand with Treehouse. I know Gretchen has reached out to Allison once or twice and haven't heard anything. Is anybody else, Sean or Kate, hear anything?
I haven't heard anything new.
So
Um,
I recently
but-
looked at the email. I feel like, was there a recent reach out?
I saw a blank email from Gretchen, so
Okay,
I don't know.
that's what
I
it
think
was.
it was,
It's like
she was just
there's no
renewing
message.
the old email.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
The old request.
I
that-
gotcha.
I think that was the intent
I
of
was like,
it.
oh, Allison's writing something new. And I was
Yeah,
like,
no, I was like, no, it wasn't new, but I saw it from Gretchen and then I thought she was just trying to reignite it.
yeah,
of.
I'll check with her, and I think she was, because she said, I think I sent you all my edits. Can you at least start with mine?
Yeah.
And get it started as a prototype. But I'll check and see if I can get Allison moved. But no, guys, nobody's heard anything more. Okay. Anything else from the commissioners tonight? And there's nobody from the public on, so no public comment other than what we've had. So the upcoming meeting, we had to shift this around, so it'll be on October 30th, starting at 6 p.m.
Is it starting at 6 or 7?
It's starting at 6, but the DES discussion is starting at 7.
Okay, good.
Yeah, with a continuation, we have to specify exactly.
Yeah, okay,
Um,
perfect.
So
All right.
that works. Okay. Yeah, we have one or two more things coming through, believe it or not. Other than that, I think we're good. So if I could, unless there's other discussion, I could take a motion to adjourn, and it's really quick.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:08 p.m.
Kate Devlin, I'll second that motion.
All right. No comments, no concerns. So we have a motion on the table. Quick roll call to adjourn.
Kate Devlin, aye.
Darren Damaris, aye.
Sean Libby, aye.
Ben Byrne.
Pete Lai. Okay. Thank you all. We're done.